हा एक्झिट फुल स्क्रीन नका करू, त्याच्या वरती बघा पहिलं स्टँडर्ड आहे.
नाही माझ्या इथे
साइड बाय साइड स्पीकर आणि साइड बाय साइड गॅलरी.
साइड बाय साइड असं काही नाहीये. झूम रेशो
उजव्या बाजूला व्ह्यू आलाय ना.
व्ह्यू ऑप्शन्स आलाय हो.
फक्त स्पीकर आता दिसतोय का?
व्ह्यू स्ट्रीम ऑन कस्टम लाईव्ह स्ट्रीमिंग सर्व्हिसेस.
फुल स्क्रीन एक्झिट करा आधी. तुम्ही वरच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये बघत होता. आता परत स्क्रीन वरती गेला तर तुम्हाला उजव्या बाजूला दिसतंय का काही व्ह्यू म्हणून?
एक चौकोन दिसतो, एक मायनस दिसतो, एक फुली दिसतो.
अरे देवा, थांबा.
एंटर फुल स्क्रीन म्हणतो. थांबा.
नाही उजव्या बाजूला वरती व्ह्यू दिसत नाहीये का?
नाही.
अरे देवा,
आता फुल स्क्रीनला आलोय, पण मी इकडे, तुम्ही परत उजव्या बाजूला गेलाय.
हा ठीक आहे ना, उजव्या बाजूला जाऊ देत,
पण छोटी विंडो दिसते ना.
हा ठीक आहे ना. मग
त्याच्यावर चर्चा केली आहे, त्यांच्याबरोबर बऱ्याच गोष्टींबरोबरचे त्यांचे अनुभव त्यांनी शेअर केलेत. याच्याबरोबर थोडक्यात अगदी त्यांचं सांगायचं झालं की ही हॅज डन हिज PhD डिग्री फ्रॉम मुंबई युनिव्हर्सिटी. जवळजवळ 17 लोकांना आतापर्यंत त्यांच्याकडनं PhD मिळाली. म्हणजे ही वॉज गाईड टू 17 अराउंड 13 स्टुडंट्स. 17 पुस्तकं त्यांनी लिहिलेली आहेत. त्यातली कितीतरी पुस्तकं ही युनिव्हर्सिटीवरती आहेत, कॉलेजेसमध्ये आहेत. क्लासिकल मेकॅनिक्स वरती लिहिलंय, क्वांटम फिजिक्स वरती लिहिली आहेत. ही सगळी पुस्तकं आता आणि खूप इट्स इज हायली रिनॉन्ड बुक्स विच आर देअर. ही हॅज व्हिजिटेड सेव्हरल कंट्रीज. म्हणजे ग्लोब वरती असं कुठे तुम्ही बोट ठेवा आणि तुमच्या असं लक्षात येईल की तिथे सर्वांनी जाऊन लेक्चर्स दिलेली आहेत. आणि सो ही हॅज ऑलरेडी डन दॅट. सो ही म्हणजे it's a huge biodata which I thought of relating. But of course, currently, of course, I will say that he is an advisor to the global initiative of Science and Technology Forum, which is created by विजय भटकर सर, डॉक्टर विजय भटकर, आणि त्याच्या ऍडवायझरी बोर्डवरती आहेत. सर आता MES म्हणजे महाराष्ट्र एज्युकेशन सोसायटी ही जी आहे त्याचे व्हाईस चेअरमन आहेत. ही वॉज ऑल्सो असोसिएटेड विथ आपटे प्रशाला. along with them, along with that, actually IAPT म्हणजे इंडियन असोसिएशन फॉर फिजिक्स टीचर्स, म्हणजे ऍक्च्युली जी संस्था मुलांना ऑलिम्पियाडला पाठवते, बरेचसे त्यांची नॅशनल परीक्षा घेते, टॅलेंट सर्चच्या परीक्षा घेते, ही नॅशनल लेवलवरची परीक्षा आहे. त्याचे ते प्रेसिडेंट होते, फाउंडर मेंबर होते. आणि त्यामुळे परीक्षा अशा कंडक्ट करणं, परीक्षांचा वेळोवेळी एस्पेशली टॅलेंट सर्च करणं, टॅलेंट सर्च केल्यानंतर त्यांना घडवणं, स्टुडंट्सना काय हवं आहे, स्टुडंट्सशी बोलणं, ह्याच्यावरती त्यांचा खूप मोठा हातखंडा आहे असं मी म्हणेन. आणि आम्ही परवा म्हणजे जेव्हा रेकॉर्डिंग करत असताना माझ्या लक्षात आलं की आतापर्यंत माझे जेवढे एपिसोड झालेत त्याच्यामध्ये असं वाटलंच नाही की इतका वेळ गेला, इतकं म्हणजे इतकं स्मूथली ते चालू होतं, इतकं छान सर गप्पा मारत होते. आणि यू विल ऑल्सो रिअलाइज की ह्या गप्पा खूप सुंदर झाल्यात, खूप इंटरेस्टिंग आहेत. अगदी लहानपणीपासून की त्यांचं लहानपणीचं जीवन कसं गेलं ते अगदी आतापर्यंत, कोणाकोणाला ते भेटले, कशा त्यांनी काय काय केलं, what he has contributed to the entire thing. So let's go directly and take this video on and listen to this ignited talks which is definitely there. And of course at the end of the entire thing he has also spoke about YTS which is currently all he is working on. So आपण त्या सगळ्याचं करू at the after the video. Of course again we are going to connect with him for some question and answers, and he's already with us to answer most of the questions which are there. So keep your questions also ready. Let them keep on coming so I can actually present the questions directly to sir. And I request Rotary Club Daund to start the video. Connected.
Namaskar, and I welcome Dr. Wagmare sir to Ignited Talks once again. Welcome, sir.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure for
Yes,
me.
sir. So we'll start immediately with the questions.
Yes.
As we know that we are going to talk to or addressing the students here.
Yes, sir.
So I would immediately like to know and go and visit the young Yashwant Wagmare.
Yes.
And how was his school days and schooling and young childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So
Well, actually, my younger days were very interesting in different ways. But anyway, I might just say that myself and my elder brother were both born in a Shiva temple. My parents used to stay in a room in a Shiva temple, and they were very religious people also. And my father used to enjoy. He was a Sanskrit scholar and also Marathi scholar, and he got his Marathi books also got some prize, the state prize at that time. And so for him, it was a great thing to be in a temple and uh, and work out many other things that he already desired to do.
This was in Baroda.
This was because this temple was just on the outskirts of Baroda town. It was a town at that time, and it was all forest outside Baroda town. And it was situated in the middle of a thick forest. On the left hand side of the temple was a big lake called Shisha Talao. And then on the right there was a gymnasium kind of thing. It was Akhada. And and we used to enjoy both, because, for example, when I grew up, also, even later on, even after we shifted from temple to a small house in Kalupura area, even then we used to go to this Akhada and then work out all physical activities, and then go to the Shisha Talao and then swim there. And this is how we used to have our whole evening spanned out. And that was very, very nice. And that was, in fact, we continued it till I graduated from the university. So till then I was a regular visitor to the Akhada. And that is what is helping me even today, for so far as my health is concerned.
So, what about your school and anything which you remember about the school?
Yes. Actually, this our house where we shifted, I was about 2 years, maybe a little older at that time then. And the school was municipal school, and which was reasonably close to our house. And my father, he was a very well-known figure because he was a scholastic person, and he put me in grade 2, actually, directly. And the teacher, Mr. Kotulkar was the name of the teacher. He was very, very much happy with me, and he said, let him be in school, in grade 2. And then actually he said, but he was much more impressed by me, by my knowledge, and he said that maybe he can appear for second exam directly, and then we'll see if he passes, we'll shift him to grade 3. So there was and the final exam of grade 2 was very close by, and so I was asked to appear for that exam directly, and and so a very funny incident happened at that time, because I went for the exam, and then some of my colleagues, they told me, they asked me, hey, did you eat tulsi patta or not? I said, no, why? He said, oh, then you will not pass. Because if you are not eating tulsi patta, then you will not pass. So you better go home. So they instigated me in such a manner, and I foolishly believed them, and I went home. My father was stunned to see me home so early. So he asked me, what happened? I told him this story. He said, "Oh no!" So he did not know whether to laugh or spank me or something. And he said, "No, let's go." So he took me back to school and told the principal, told this school teacher the whole story. And so teacher said, "No, let him appear." So I appeared for that exam and I stood first. And so I was directly promoted, was put into grade 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was my thing in the. This was my good experience of that school. Just 1 year, but I was already in grade 3.
The later part of the school.
And then
grade 4th
and
onwards?
grade 3 also I did very well.
Okay.
And then I was put in. Then I joined. There was a high school which was about 1 kilometer away from my house, and that was so I was put. I joined that school. Jayasri Model Junior High School was the name of the school, and I joined 4th grade there, and I liked it very much because though it was 1 kilometer away from my house, but it was a good walk also, and somehow I had a couple of friends from my own area who also used to go to that school. One of my friends who used to walk with me every day,
Okay.
he later on became a surgeon.
Okay.
Actually, he became FRCS after he went to England and all that. But we used to go together, and so the main point was that even though we sort of we went to that school, the teachers we had were nice, some of them. But then later on, when we were in 8th grade, then actually that school had only 4th to 8th grade.
Okay.
And Mr. Divekar, he was our new teacher, and also Mr. Kelkar. That was also, he was new teacher. Kelkar used to teach us science, and most of the subjects were taught by Mr. Divekar. Divekar was a fantastic person. I have never seen that kind of person later on, that kind of teacher, or with that knowledge and affection towards school students. And in fact, because of, he told us so many stories of English authors and other people, and like we came to know a lot about O. Henry and Guy de Maupassant, etc., because of the stories that Mr. Divekar told us, and that was really very nice. And Kelkar told us about some funny things about science and all that, and so we enjoyed the teaching of both these teachers. And even though there were some other subjects being taught, we used to always feel that let Mr. Kelkar and Kelkar sir and Divekar sir come and teach us. We always used to feel like that. So it was very nice. After 8th, actually normally the students were shifted to another building, which was called senior school. And so 9th to 11th, because there was 12th at that time. So 9th to 11th were taught in that building, and there was other principal there and other set of teachers, etc. But Divekar sir said that no, why to shift these students? I like these students very much. So let us start 9th also here. So actually, because of their insistence, 9th, 10th and 11th were all started in that same school.
Same building.
Same building. And they taught us the same and continue to teach us the same kind of subjects. And some teachers continued, and it was really enjoyable, and we still feel that was the best thing that happened. Yeah.
So your inspiration to learn science in future was taken from these teachers?
From these teachers, yes. To education in general was because of these two teachers, actually.
Can we also say that to become a teacher also was inspired from them?
That's right. Yes. They really taught us how to even teach.
Okay.
And so it was wonderful. and there was also one Sanskrit Pandit, and he used to come and teach us Sanskrit, but in such a manner that he used to come with, whenever he used to walk in the room, in the classroom, he used to come with some slokas, and he used to narrate some slokas, and then we used to enjoy that kind of atmosphere. So the ambience was really very nice for the students. Yeah.
Of course, the students will also like to know what specifically made you choose, science as particularly, or physics as particularly the subject for your future studies.
Yeah, I will tell you that. Actually, I also remember one interesting incident about this school, because sometimes it may happen that Divakar sir was not well and he would not come, or Kelkar sir was not well and he would not come. So they used to have some substitute teacher, and so there used to be the PT teacher who used to normally come, who didn't know very much about anything. So once he asked us, what is the class today? What is the subject that that was going to be taught to you? So he said Marathi. So he said, okay, let us see. Just open the book. So he said, where you going to be taught? So he said that there is a poem, this chimney. So he said, he looked at that. He said, chimney. That chimney it's with such a beautiful poem, but he massacred it in such a manner. He said that because it said that that the poem said something like this, that a chimney, that means that was a narration of a small child.
Okay.
A chimney came with a chimney in her hand, and then that chimney started squeaking again in a chimney voice, and like this, it went. There were too many chimney birds coming in there. He didn't understand what those were. He didn't understand the real meanings of that. So he said, "Sir, children, there is a lot of misprint in this book because this chimney is becoming too often." Okay. So he said, let us forget about this. So like this, sometimes we have to have some interesting these funs. The other thing I remember in that school, and maybe it happened after 8th class, but we had the inspection. So inspector had come. So he was being taken around the school, and there was some nice flowering plants, etc. So there was one very nice flower, that had bloomed, and so that supervisor, that inspector, he liked it very much. So he said, "What is this flower?" So the person who would have normally taken around him, who had not come. So again the PT teacher was with him. So he asked that teacher. So PT teacher said, "Oh, this is called chrysanthemum." Okay. Because it was written in Marathi there. So there. He said it is called chrysanthemum. So that fellow didn't understand, inspector. So what is it? He said chrysanthemum. So he said that, "Can you spell it?" So the teacher was taken aback. He said, "No, you can call it rose. You can call it rose." So and just ran and went away from there. So there are some very interesting things that happened in school during those days. Also,
the students will be surprised. Even I was surprised to understand that it was a Marathi school. As you said, it was teaching Marathi.
Yeah.
In Baroda. So
yes.
It is a bit surprising now, looking at now.
That's right. Yes. And about my interest in science, as a discipline to take up, it was mostly because of Professor H.N. Patil, who was a very close friend of my father. He was professor of physics, and so after I graduated, after I passed into science, it was usually thought that everybody used to go to engineering, and like that, or medicine. So I was also planning to do the same thing, and I was going to apply, had the form and everything, but then Professor Patil visited our house. It just happened, and then he asked me, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to go in for engineering, mechanical engineering, most likely." Then he said, "No, no, don't see. That's a beaten track. See, everybody goes in for engineering, and so my elder brother, he had become an electrical engineer. He said, uh, engineering, if you become an engineer, you will get a job immediately. But that doesn't guarantee you any sort of pleasure for the discipline itself. So, because you are so good in physics, because he knew that, and so he said you should go in for physics and then become a nuclear scientist, because Bhabha, he is developing nuclear science program in India. So if you become one of the first nuclear scientists, then you will be recognized much more than becoming an engineer." So that impressed me. So I thought that was very nice. So I said, "Okay, I'll take up physics." So I joined for BSc Physics. This, and then this nuclear science also, that was in my mind already at that time, because this Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed by US, by American government, American scientists. So there was another teacher, friend of my father, who was also physics professor, just like HM Professor Patil. And I did not know much about him. But I asked him a question. I asked him, "Sir, will you please tell me what is this atomic bomb? Because I don't know what it is." So he just looked at me sternly and said that you will not understand it. So I was stunned by that. I didn't like that answer. Because I thought that because I was not knowing about it, that's why I asked him the question. But when he said this, I didn't like that. So anyway, I was going to become a nuclear scientist. I got my BSc degree, but for MSc, I wanted to take up nuclear science, but MS University, Baroda, did not have that nuclear science. So I had to go to Ruya College, Bombay for that. And so I shifted to Ruya College, Bombay.
So then you studied in Mumbai for your post-graduation?
Yes, for post-graduation.
So any remembers from that particular time?
Yes. There was no University of Bombay at that time. So we used to go to various colleges to have lectures. We had for classical mechanics, Madhu Dandavate, the well-known politician as well as scientist, and he was an excellent teacher. And then Professor Gatha, he got his PhD from Caltech. Yeah, and really expert in quantum mechanics. And he actually imbibed interest of quantum mechanics in my mind at that time. I was in Bombay for MSc for 1956 to 58, actually. And I did very well in the final exam also. So because of that, and everybody liked me, my interest also, and the knowledge I used to get from new journals in nuclear physics. I got that much of interest.
I think the first job also you applied for the teacher's job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, there was an advertisement for government advertisement that those with MSc, those who appeared for MSc could also appear for that examination, for that test. So there was a committee headed by Professor Gatha himself, and it was that interview was held in the Institute of Science, Mumbai, and I appeared for the interview, and my interview was absolutely superb. I answered each and every question that any member asked me for this. So then finally, Professor Gatha said that, so anyway, we are here to offer you a job. where do you would like to go? I said, where are the possibilities?
Okay.
So he told me various possibilities. One of them was Gujarat College, Ahmedabad.
Okay.
That's where my father was professor of English at that time. And so he said that you are doing extremely well, and I am glad that I hope that you would have continued for the higher studies. And so I said, thank you, sir. But anyway, he gave me the appointment letter right there
Okay.
on the spot. And so I took the appointment letter and later went to Gujarat College, Ahmedabad,
Okay.
where I'm met the principal and gave him this appointment letter. I said that I'm supposed to join here.
Okay.
So he saw my letter and also my mark sheets and everything. He said, "So why do you want to join lectures job here?
Okay.
You should go ahead. You should do your PhD also."
Yeah. Very true. Actually.
Yeah. And so but I said, but I don't know about anything about PhD or anything.
Okay.
So what do I do? He said that Vikram Sarabhai is holding interviews for recruitment of students
Okay.
in physical science laboratory. So why don't you join that? Or why don't you go and get interviewed and see if you try your luck there? So I said that I don't know where it is located and what is the last date for application. He said that you don't worry. So he said, I will give a note, and so that they will at least interview you. The rest of things I don't know. So he gave me a note, which I went to physical science laboratory, found that out, and gave it to Vikram Sarabhai. And so he said, okay, you come tomorrow for interview and we'll see. And actually, they were going to their professor Sudhir Pandya, who had joined physical science laboratory as a young scientist and absolutely fantastic scientist, nuclear scientist he was. So I wanted to be a nuclear scientist. So I thought I will try with Professor, if I can get a seat with Professor Pandya. So next day when I went, I found out that Pandya had not selected anybody for himself, as a student for him.
Okay. Okay.
So I had a hope. So I appeared for my interview. He interviewed me and he said, okay, I take you.
Okay.
And so I felt very happy. So that's how I joined Physical Science Laboratory Ahmedabad and started working for my PhD with Professor Sudhir Pandya.
Okay. So it was kind of a job and also academics also involved in that.
Right. It was not a job actually. It was only academics only. So I really I had my best time that time because I used to meet every day Vikram Sarabhai and many times even Mridalini Sarabhai and this Kartikeya and these other children who are now become big industrialists and all these. So it was nice, you know.
Any particular incident that you remember with Vikram Sarabhai?
Yeah, yes. He was Vikram Bhai, as we used to call him always. He was a wonderful person, and he used to have jokes with students and everybody. And he used to joke around, move around with just walk around with students and all that. So we are not afraid of him in that sense. So all my group mates, that means all the students, they thought that because we are getting only 75 rupees scholarship, they said this is too little, so it should be increased. So somebody should meet Sarabhai and impress and tell him this. So they all asked me to go and meet Vikram Bhai. Yes, I was supposed to bail the cat. So I said okay. So I went to Vikram Bhai's office. His office was always open. The main door was always open. So, and he was working on something. So I knocked on the door. So he looked at me. Hey, Yashwant, come in. Yes. So I went in and he said, so is there a problem or you are going to suggest me something? So I said, probably both. So he said, what is it? I told him, Sir, all my friends and colleagues, they are all saying that, and I also feel the same, that the scholarship that we are getting, 75 rupees is nothing, and it should be enhanced, much more.
Please, yes.
So Vikram bhai, very just smiling, he smiled and he showed me his collar. See, it is torn.
Okay.
And I also need some more money. So he laughed. So then I didn't know what to say because Vikram bhai says like this. So I said, so sorry. And then I said sorry and walked out. But anyway, he increased our scholarship from say 75 to 100.
That
So
worked also.
that worked. So that is how, that was a very unique incident I remember of Vikram bhai.
Then you completed your PhD at PRL or-
Yes, at Physical Laboratory, Ahmedabad.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was which university?
That was, I submitted my thesis to Bombay University.
Okay.
PRL was recognized by most of the universities. And but I did not somehow want to have the degree from Gujarat University.
Okay.
So I asked Professor Pandya as well as Professor Sarabhai and Professor Ramanathan, who was the director, and that I want to get my PhD, I want to register in Bombay University because Bombay University had a rule that if you have one degree from Bombay University, then you don't have to pay any fees for PhD admission.
Okay.
That was very important. In Gujarat University, it was not like that. I would have to pay.
Okay.
So they said, okay, fine. So because of me, they had to make an application for becoming registered guides. So all Sudhir bhai, Vikram bhai and Professor Ramanathan, their applications were sent to Bombay University, which of course they were very glad to accept. So I registered in Bombay University at that time, and the Bombay University had a degree. They had a rule that you have to spend 3 years in registration, after registration, as a student. So that delayed my PhD degree, in fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it had something. It had some rule about 2 examiners also. Right?
Yes. And in fact, when I completed my all work in let's say about 2.5 years or 3 years, I had many research papers in internationally famous journals, and so I was already very famous. And even in Indian conferences, wherever I went, people were just waiting for me to get my degree so that they could hire me in their own departments,
Okay.
as a faculty member. And we had this rule that the Bombay University had this rule that there were 2 examiners, one internal examiner. Internal means besides the guide,
Okay.
and if somebody from within India, and one from abroad.
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
that was the thing. So that I did not know, of course, who they were, the guides, the examiners. But Punjab University, Chandigarh, the Professor Sood, who was a professor there, he was a nuclear physicist,
Okay.
and so he wanted me in his department, and so he asked Professor Pandya to induce me to join Punjab University. So I didn't have the degree or anything at that time. So when I joined, I joined Chandigarh, and I taught there for 1 full year.
Okay.
And when I joined, I came to know that he was my internal examiner, Professor Sood. So there was no question, he would pass me anyways. So I knew about that, but I did not know who was the external examiner. That it was by stroke of luck that I came to know about the external examiner. This I I was still teaching at Chandigarh when I got a letter from one professor from Stanford, Professor Robert Hofstadter, whose name I had already very well known, and I had I had read his papers and everything, and I had also worked on those papers, and like this. So, and they were also published, and he had seen them, those papers also. So, I got a letter from Professor Hofstadter saying that he was having a international conference. They were conducting an international conference in Stanford. This was in 1963. I got his letter in 1962, and he said that I would like you to come for this conference, and this is an international conference, and there will be a lot of invited people, so you will be interested in meeting them also, and I have liked your thesis very much. So I may be on chapters this and some two particular chapters. He said, I think that you may present your two papers in that, because they refer to his work and my work on those works. So I immediately came to know that he is my external examiner, because he said that he liked my thesis. And so I said, that's great. And because he had invited me for the international conference and he had asked me to present two papers, that means that he has liked my thesis. So he would pass me also. So both the examiners I had no problems with. So, but at that time in 1962, November or December or something, I had written, Professor Pandya said that I should write to Mrs. Maria Mayer, the most famous nuclear scientist, who was also a part of the Manhattan Project, which fabricated the atomic bombs, etc. So she was in University of California. He said that you write to her and see if you can get a position, a research position, to work with her. So I said, that's a great idea. So I wrote to her. And she offered me, I was so fortunate to get that letter. She offered me a position in University of California at San Diego. But the university itself was located in La Jolla, but the city was San Diego. La Jolla is a suburb of San Diego. So from September 1963. So I said, that's fine. But then suddenly it occurred to me that this Professor Hofstadter's conference was in June in 1963. So I did not know what to do. So then again, Professor Savitribai, he told me, why didn't you request her that if she can prepone my appointment to June? And if she does it, fine. Otherwise, you accept whatever she says. So I wrote to her. The letter she wrote to me was fantastic. She said that you go to Stanford, and Professor Hofstadter had offered me to and fro fare, registration charges, all the expenses, that are incurred by any person who attends that conference. So we will pay you. University of California will pay you everything, and you represent University of California in that Stanford conference. So that's great. And he said, yes, we will prepone your appointment from September to June. And actually, when I went to Stanford, that was wonderful. That Professor Hofstadter himself had come to the airport to receive me. And yeah, that was really, I felt so nice about it. And then he took me around and showed me Stanford and everything. And he introduced me to so many Nobel Prize winners who had come. So I met a lot of big dignitaries at that time. And there were some students from University of California who had also come for the conference. And they saw my label on my badge. They said, University of California at San Diego. I said, but we never saw you, they said. Indian students. I said, yeah, but I have not seen University of California at San Diego also as yet. So from here I will come, after the conference is over, I will come there. So you take me, we'll all go together anyway. And so you take care of me there, because you have to introduce me to there. And that is what happened as when I went and then joined and met Mrs. Mayer, and she was extremely nice. She was an old lady, but she had a paralysis attack earlier. She was a chain smoker, and she used to smoke so regularly that at midtime she used to forget that that filter was outside and the tobacco was inside. I had to tell her that, madam, this is the, and she used to take it. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Like this. So I also started working with her, and that was wonderful. Yeah.
And then she also got the Nobel Prize.
And then yes, and then I was working. I was working very hard, and every morning I used to be the. She used to come at around 8 o'clock. I used to go a little early, 7:30 or so, and my office was next to hers. Actually, she had made it sure, told the authorities that my office must be next to hers. And because I was postdoc, so my office would be on some different floor. But when actual Professor Bernd Matthias, who was tipped for Nobel Prize in the theory of superconductivity, and so he was supposed to occupy that room, and but then he was shifted out, and I was given that room, and then Mrs. used I had this habit of closing my door every time I got in, and Mrs. Mayer used to, when she came, she used to knock on my door and then open the door. Good morning, Yashwant, she would say, and immediately close the door and go. I used to immediately get up when she used to open the door and used to say, good morning, madam, and then sit down. And so this was our usual practice. Now then one day, early morning, I got a phone call from one of our Indian friends, my colleagues, that he said that your professor gets Nobel Prize. You know that? What? I was still in a haze kind of thing. So he said, yeah, Mrs. Mayer gets Nobel Prize. I said, why? That's great. So now I will see if there is any change in her behavior. So I went as usual early, but then I found that it was difficult to even reach my office because there was so many media people, with all their cameras and all kinds of things, and so I had to tell them that my office is near Mrs. Moyer's office, so I would please allow me to go. So I used to go. Then they allowed me to go, and I went to my office. Again, closed the door. I was waiting for Mrs. Mayer to come. Mrs. Mayer came at the usual time, 8 o'clock, and knocked on the door and opened the door. Good morning, Yashwant. So I immediately jumped up and said that, congratulations, Mrs. Mayer, for the Nobel Prize. And she said, okay, that's okay. As if nothing else has happened, really. So I closed the door and went into her room. And then all these media people, they went to her room, and they took her photographs, etc. And then they wanted her to know what she had done, which gave her the Nobel Prize. So she said, call Yashwant. So I was summoned. So I went there. So she said that, look, he told the media people, he will ask me questions and which will lead me to my Nobel Prize. Okay? So they thought it was a great idea. I didn't think it was a great idea because I didn't know what questions to ask because this was extempore. Everything was extempore. But anyway, I got my own composure and then I asked her questions which everybody was happy. This was broadcasted from there itself, live broadcast all over the world. And many people who knew me in India and abroad, they saw me. This is my interview with Mrs. Mayer, and they told me also later that was great. So anyway, so that was a very nice incident that had happened, and there was no change in it. Mrs. Mayer's approach of anything, even after she got Nobel Prize. It was just a continuation.
So you worked with her for 2 years.
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then later on,
When she got Nobel Prize, there was one most interesting incident that happened, and that was she told me lots of telegrams came, lot of other emails, etc. So she asked me if I could sort them out. So I said, scientists, of course, I knew the names at least, so I can sort them out. And but she was all the time conscious about it. Has a telegram of John Kennedy come, because John Kennedy was the president of US at that time. So that came in the afternoon. And then when I was sorting out the telegrams, there was one telegram which puzzled me, because it said, I want to bite you. Bite you. Okay, some John or something, some name. So I thought there must be some joke in this, which only she would know. So I gave that telegram to her and said that this is an interesting telegram. I don't know, you can look at it. So she saw it and she tried to, look at it for a long time, but couldn't make out who has sent this telegram. In the meantime, Joseph Mayer, her husband, who was also a great scientist, he came and so she gave it to Joe. Joe, can you find out whose telegram is this? So he also saw it and couldn't make it out. So, no, I'm sorry. Then we kept it aside. We'll see later on. And then we sorted out other telegrams, etc., etc. And suddenly, at about lunchtime, she started laughing big. And Joe was also there. So Joe said that, I think she has cracked the telegram. So, yeah, so I said that, can you share that with us, with me? So she said, yes, I will tell you. She said, just 2 years ago, Professor Libby got Nobel Prize in chemistry. So he had given a party, and he had given a party on his own lawns, and he had invited many people, and we are also invited. So we went there, and he had a small dog whose name was that John or whatever, and it was moving around his legs, all the time, because he was his pet dog. And so by mistake, Libby's foot fell on that dog's tail, and that bit him. So Libby was stunned, because Libby thought that a dog may bark but not bite his master at any cost. That was his assumption, yeah. But and so he was so much stunned that he put the tray down, the rings and all eatables, etc., and sat in the chair. So wouldn't get up and wouldn't talk to anybody. So everybody didn't know what to do. So they all tried to tell him, after all, these are animals, you don't know how they will behave at what time, etc., etc. But still, that would not help him. Then Mrs. Mayer said, I went and told him something in his ear. So, and he started laughing, and then got up, took the tray and started serving, just back to normal, back to normal. So, I asked him, what was it that you told him in his ears? She said that he did not bite his master. He bit one who got Nobel Prize. So that was Libby's telegram to Mrs. Mayer, that on the name of that dog. I want to bite you because she got Nobel Prize. Like this. So this was a very interesting episode, which I think most of people, of course, would not know, because it happened with me. So that was most enjoyable thing. I had best time with Mrs. Mayer also. I learnt a lot from her, enormous physics and nuclear physics, and she was very happy with me. Actually, she wanted me to stay on as a faculty member in La Jolla. She offered me that position, but I did not accept that for my own reasons.
Okay. Why? What were the reasons?
See, I had decided before going to US
Hmm.
that I would spend 4 years in US, 2 years on the West Coast, 2 years on the East Coast, and then come back to India and teach our own students here.
Oh, so that was.
That was my yes, that was my decision,
Okay.
and so I told her that. So finally, she said that if you really want to do that, then you should go to IIT Kanpur.
No.
She suggested that.
Hmm?
She suggested that.
Yeah, she suggested
Okay.
I said that I don't know where Kanpur is.
Okay.
I don't know anything about Kanpur or IIT or anything. So she said, you see, Indian government is setting up IITs with the help of some countries, and at Kanpur, we are setting up an IIT, a consortium of 9 American universities
Oh.
are doing that. I have taken up that responsibility. These universities like Stanford, California, MIT, Caltech, Harvard, Princeton, and like this, all top 9 universities, they are the ones who are going to support that. And so it will grow much faster than any other IIT.
Okay.
It will be the best institute in India. So you should go there, you should join there. So I said, I will see, madam, because I have still to spend 2 years on the East Coast,
Okay.
and then I will decide. So, but you keep this in mind. She was insisting all the time.
Okay.
And then even when I was at MIT, she told me that she was telling me that I should still join California, University of California, to be with her. But then I told her that suppose if I join IIT Kanpur, would you visit us?
Okay.
Would you visit us if we invite you? So she said, yes,
Okay.
I will invite. I will accept the invitation. I will come. Both myself and Joe will come and spend some time with you. I said that will be really wonderful. So that was what happened between Mrs. Mayer and.
So then you joined the East Coast later.
Yes, that was another very interesting thing.
Okay.
I did not know where to go to East Coast, because I knew that now wherever I apply, they will all offer me a position, because I was already working with Mrs. Mayer. I had worked with her, Nobel Prize winner. So she said, no, don't apply to any other place. You write to MIT.
Okay.
I said, okay. So I wrote to MIT, but I also wrote, just for the sake of it, without telling her, to some other places also. And I got offers immediately from those places also, and then I got once a telephone call from MIT. Chairman of the department called me and said that we are offering you this, and so please come and join us. Let us know when you can come and join. So I told Mrs. Mayer that I have got the offer from MIT, but I also got some offers from other places, but they are giving me this salary, something like 3 times more than what MIT is going to pay me. So he said, don't worry about that money. No, because that will not help you. This will help you, even this small money. But you will be at MIT, and you will learn the kind of science there which nobody else is going to teach you in any other place. So I said, that's fine. So I joined MIT, and I was supposed to be there for 2 years, but I did not complete 2 years because of incident that happened, and that was Professor Kelkar, director of IIT Kanpur, was visiting MIT at that time.
Okay.
And Professor Norman Dhal, the consortium leader at that time, he was from MIT, and he knew, of course, me there. So he called me and he said that Professor Kelkar would like to talk to you.
Okay.
So I went and met Professor Kelkar and Norman Dhal also there. So Norman Dhal told me about what IIT Kanpur is going to do in the next few years or 10 years. And so that was great. I was really stunned. And then Professor Kirkar also told me that, see, we want to develop nuclear science program and you have to come there as early as possible. We have a nuclear machine, experimental machine, so that we can do, we have experimental group there, good experimental group there. But we don't have any theorist. So you have to develop a nuclear theory group there. And so I said, yeah, that's a good idea. And I was very impressed by the vision of Professor Kelkar and Norman Dhal and these people. So I said, I will join. Then Professor Feshbach, who was the chairman of the physics department at MIT, he was called by Norman Dhal. And he said, will you release him early? So he did not know what to say. And we had done excellent work. I had done very nice work, research work at MIT, which had made me very famous. And so he said that, okay, as if he wishes, he can go. But we would like him to be here, at least for some time. So that was how the that meeting ended. And yeah.
And in that duration also, I read something that you had given some lecture at some place where.
Yeah. Actually, I had done some almost fundamental work on the behavior of nucleons inside a nucleus. Myself and my colleague, who was a professor at MIT, he was young assistant professor, Carl Shekin. So it was Shekin Wagmare work had become headlines at that time, and we had done such good work, and we got acclamation for our work from Professor Victor Weisskopf, who was the Director General of CERN at that time, and he was the institute professor, the sort of god figure at MIT physics department. And we went and talked to him, and he was also very impressed. He was so happy. He said that you people deserve Nobel Prize for this work, he said. So that was a good pat on our back. And then he said that you give a colloquium now here at MIT. So I said, fine. So I did give a colloquium, and which was appreciated by everybody, and Professor Weisskopf was there, and so he also told me that we are very happy that you have done such a work, and you can, on this basis of this work, you can go anywhere now you feel like. So, and then there was a international conference at Gatlinburg, where I was invited to give a invited talk. That was an honor for a young person like me. And so I was happy. I gave my invited talk, and when I finished my talk, there are people who raised their hands for asking questions. One senior person I saw, he asked me some questions, and I tried to answer him, but he was not convinced. He was not happy, and he was persistent about some particular points. So he kept on asking, and I thought I understood his questions and tried to reply, but he was still not happy. Then suddenly Professor Weisskopf, who was also present in the audience, he got up. He said, Hans, let me tell you what he has done. Then I came to know that he was Hans Bethe, the Nobel Prize winner, who showed us, who gave this theory of how sun radiates heat energy, and for that he got Nobel Prize. And so he was the person who had asked me these questions. And then Professor Weisskopf explained to him what we had done, what I had done very well. So, in fact, that was the time when I understood what I had done so clearly. Because, yeah, that was fantastic, The clarity of Professor Weisskopf was wonderful. So, anyway, later on, Weisskopf invited me also to CERN. And we read here that God's particle, etc. There was this in the newspapers quite a bit. So at that same place, I had given 1 week's lectures at that time, and in all Europe, etc. I gave lots of lectures. I was invited everywhere, and uh, my wife Anjali was also with me at all those places.
So it was on Mrs. Mayer's instinct that you were suggested to go to IIT Kanpur, and then yeah.
And after listening to Professor Kirkar and Arman Dal, I immediately thought I must return to India as early as possible, because India was developing nuclear program, and so I should join there as early as possible, because I had to had the responsibility of forming a theoretical physics group there. So I took permission of Professor Fishback and left IIT and went to IIT.
Okay.
Joined IIT. In fact, Professor Kirkar had offered me. He had said that I will pay you. That means airfare with luggage when you come to Kanpur, from here to Kanpur. So anyway, I was happy, and so I joined IIT Kanpur, and in fact, and then I wrote to Mrs. Mayer that I have joined IIT Kanpur. Now, please keep your word, and you should visit us now whenever you can. So she said, yes, I will. And then within a few months, I think maybe 2-3 months time, she and Mrs. Joseph Mayer, they came to IIT Kanpur, and they spent 2 months. 2 months in IIT Kanpur with us, and she taught nuclear physics to our students there, and I continued after she left, because the whole rest of the semester I taught, but that was after she had left. But she was such a great inspiration for our students at IIT Kanpur that everybody was very happy, and so that is how she kept her word, I kept my word, and I was very happy to be at IIT Kanpur. And the students at IIT Kanpur are so brilliant that I really enjoyed teaching them and interacting with them in every possible way.
So you must have met a lot of people and a lot of students in IIT Kanpur. So something more about.
Yes, in fact, we had great people, great students from IIT Kanpur whom I had interaction with. One was Dr. D. Subbarao, who became the governor of the Reserve Bank of India. And then we had Narayan Murthy, who owns a company, Infosys, and all that. So he, and there are many other people whom IIT Kanpur has produced, and they are all great people, and they are all.
I think H.C. Verma is also your student.
H.C. Verma is my student, very devoted student, and he got this one award recently, and so that was also nice. So we are happy, and I was so happy. I had many other offers when I was teaching at IIT Kanpur from various places in India. The people would come and meet me and ask me if I would take up vice chancellorship at this place, that place, and so on. I was not happy at all. I didn't want to go anywhere else, leaving IIT Kanpur. So that's how I really, when I retired from IIT Kanpur, superannuated from IIT Kanpur in 1997, I was one of the happiest persons.
So you served in IIT Kanpur for how long?
31 years.
31, oh my God, that's...
Yeah, 31 years I taught at IIT Kanpur. Incidentally, but during those days, during that time, almost every summer, I used to go as a visiting professor at many places in India and abroad. So, abroad, for example, went to Germany on 2 occasions. Almost 2 years or 1.5 years. 1 year, 6 months, one time, and second time 1 year full at Germany. And those were the days in Germany, and then I also went twice to Atomic Energy Commission at Harwell, England. I was there, but we visited twice, and there, of course, when I was in one of those visits, I also gave 2 lectures at Oxford University. There, I was invited by Professor R.J. Eden and Sir David Brink. So we spent some time there, and also I went twice to France, one at Orsay and once at Saclay laboratories, and it was 1 week each at that time. And then, of course, at CERN, Geneva, also, and then, of course, I also spent. I was invited at Weizmann Institute, Israel, for 3 months. I went for 3 months at Israel, Weizmann Institute, and I was visiting professor, supposed to go as visiting professor. But after going there, I found that I was treated as a state guest. Yeah, and they had given me a big limousine to show us all about everything about Israel, the Haifa and other things, and so we saw complete Israel at that time, and then they were very happy that they said you should come here as an ambassador or something like that of India to Israel. So then we were given a dinner party, when Golda Meir, Prime Minister, was present. Moshe Dayan was there, and then Professor Rabi, I.I. Rabi, who got Nobel Prize in Chemistry, he was present. Amos Dishalit, the director, and they gave us a very nice dinner also at that time. And so we were treated very well, in Israel at that time. And so from there, and then we also, I was also invited by Australian National University, Canberra. Australian National, there to teach a full course on nuclear physics to the students at postgraduate level. And so I went there also for 3 months and taught there, and that was also a good experience I had. And that time, of course, once I was in once I was in Canada at Canberra, I also visited many other places like Sydney and Flinders. Flinders is a very beautiful place, I must say. And Adelaide and other places, like giving lectures and all that. So it was very nice. So that also. And then, I don't know, many other places we visited. So I don't recall everything at this moment. Yeah.
I can't stop myself asking you one question, which is very important from the point of view of the viewers today. I could see that you had every opportunity of joining whatever university you wanted across the globe, at whatever, or whatever monetary thing which you asked for. What kept you in India?
Yeah, this is because, as I said, that it was my dream to come back and teach to our students. So I wanted to really, and which I did, absolutely as sincerely as I could, and that's why students are still sort of appreciating my other works, and sort of they revere me even now. So they come and visit me, and they are still in touch with me. So I think that is just because I had this desire. I still feel that I have still a lot of knowledge which I would like to give to students, and at undergraduate level, graduate level, and other places. Like, for example, there is one thing which I might gladly mention. This there were 2 students who were in their second year of IIT, and who belonged to different discipline. One was in computer science, and he had a JEE rank of 6 or something like that. And second was from electrical engineering, and his rank was again around 100 or something. He was from electrical engineering. They both wanted to, they both came to me and said that they wanted to join, to shift to physics. So I said, why do you want to do that? Your grades are so high that, that you don't have to do that. You become, you complete your degree in your own discipline, and then later on do whatever you feel like. So they said, no sir, we don't want to do that. We want to change to physics. So they did. And one of them is now presently the director of our Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, TIFR. Sandeep Trivedi, he is my student. And second is the director of TSA, International Center for Theoretical Physics, Atish Dabholkar. So these are the two students. This fantastic, So these, and I had taught them at in first year and second year physics. So I feel so happy about such things. There are many other things also.
So what you feel is the most, what your contribution towards the scientific world?
I think cherished contribution, I think.
Yes, I think I am very happy that I did so much for students from IIT Kanpur, because I had the privilege of actually interacting with the students, teaching them and interacting with them various things. So I think I taught them a lot, and I think that I'm sure that they would appreciate whatever I did for them.
Sure.
And they also thought, in fact, at this 50th anniversary of IIT Kanpur, one student, he made a speech and he said that we were just stones when we came to IIT Kanpur, but you polished them so much and we became diamonds by the time we left IIT Kanpur. It's like this. So, I think their appreciation is a reward for us. That's the best reward I can think of.
So after IIT Kanpur, you decided to come to Pune, or like, then?
Yeah, actually, I used to come to Pune when I was at IIT Kanpur every semester almost, to either as an examiner or to give lectures or whatever. And at that time, I used to meet my other friends like Jain Nalikar and Govind Swarup, Professor Govind Swarup and other people, these great scientists. And at that time itself, I was suggested that when I complete my tenure at IIT Kanpur, I should come to Pune and interact with them and sort of do something for the education in Pune. And that's what I thought I should do that. And that's what tempted me to come to settle down in Pune, though I don't belong to Pune.
Okay.
Yeah, I belong to Vadodara, as I said earlier, and I'm very happy to be here. And since I have come here, almost without wasting any time, I have been associated with academic activities here. Yeah.
Associated with the MES.
Yes, with Maharashtra Education Society. I was also I was also distinguished professor at IUCAA and university for almost 6 years from the day I came here. And then, of course, after this MES, I am also associated with Vidya Mahamandal after school. Yeah, in various capacities I have done that. So I am still with academics all the time.
And you also founded the Association for Physics Teachers.
Yes. That was, of course, when I was at IIT Kanpur.
Okay.
When I was chairman of the physics department, it was thought that we should have a association of physics teachers.
Okay.
And there was a group of people. It was headed by Dr. D.P. Khandelwal and who founded this this organization, IPT, Indian Association of Physics Teachers. I was initially not a member of that, but I had promised that I will become a active member after I retire from from as head of the department. Yeah, which I did later. I became the president also. I'm the founder member of IPT, became the president of IPT, and like this. So, and I've been helping still I'm helping them. Yeah.
So when you came back to Pune, actually something happened about the IIT students who were appearing, and you did something something very different.
That was, see, when we shifted to Pune, this I used to read newspapers every morning, and particularly latest letter, and I found that there are many letters which were written by parents which were cursing the intelligentsia here in Pune. They said that this is called Oxford of India, Pune, and there are so many big people here, but they are not of any use to our students, our children, because they are not helping our children directly at all. So that's why there were hardly one or two students from Pune get into IIT every year. So that was the kind of thing. So I read that, I was surprised that why this was happening. But I didn't say anything about this, or I didn't sort of react to that. But then once I was called by on the phone by Asha Kembhavi, wife of Dr. Kembhavi, Dr. Kembhavi, who was director of IUCAA. She said that sir, you should. Did you read today's letter? I said no. You should read that, because I'm sure you cannot keep quiet after that. So I read that, and surely I was boiling, you know. So because it said that all IITs, they're all fake. Yes, and you can get admissions by paying money, this thing, that corruption, there's a lot of corruption, etc. So that was the kind of thing that was written. So I really got angry, and I wrote a big half-page returned to that kind of thing, and published in Saka that these parents, if this is the kind of information that they have, I mean, what can they how can they advise their own children? So I said that this is very bad, and I criticized the whole psyche of those parents. So in fact, one of my mentors, senior mentors from our PRL group, Physical Research Laboratory group, Dr. Chitnis, who is the Eknath Chitnis, who is the brainwave behind our satellite navigation of the country. He told him, he said, hey, you be careful, because we are criticized, you are just new in Pune, and you shouldn't write such strong words, you know, for. I said, now I have already done that. Now it's already gone. So he said, now you at least write another letter, another column for students. So I wrote another half-page column saying the advising students how to prepare for IIT entrance examination, and so everybody felt happy. Many people said that, why don't you start some coaching class or something like that? Something. I said, I'm not going to start coaching class. I don't want to make money like that. That's a wrong thing. So then however, later on, I did decide that we should have some kind of guidance class to bright students from Pune, and we did that. In fact, we formed a group I was teaching physics, and then Professor Wadia taught chemistry, and Sushma Zug also taught chemistry. You should have them.
Okay.
And and then Professor Dhaule, who had just retired from VJTI as chairman of the mathematics department, he was there for mathematics. So we formed a group, and we said that okay, those who have cleared first exam of IIT, because there used to be two exams at that time. There used to be this preliminary exam and then the advanced. Yeah. So those who have cleared preliminary exams, we'll take them without any fees. No, we'll not charge any fees to them. We just want to guide you, and so see that you get into IITs, and that's what we did. And in first year of our this guiding course, we had 26 students, I think, about, or maybe around that, and out of which 15 made it to IIT.
Oh my God.
So that was great, and it came in the newspapers that these people have started this, and 15 have made it to IIT, and that is still I mean, even today they are quoted in newspapers. And then next year, out of 24, 20 made it to IIT. So it was fantastic. So, but afterwards we could not continue that because of some our personal reasons. When there's nothing between us teachers, but because of circumstances. So, so that's how we started this. And I still have that idea, that if there are good students, of course now you cannot have it completely open, but there should be a slot available for good students and deserving students who can be given education without any strings attached. So that would be very nice. And that is what this YTS headed by Professor Shantanu Deshpande is doing. When he met me and he told me about this, I felt very happy about this, and I told him that I will be with you, I will help you in any way you like, and don't worry about it. So whenever I did give some lectures in the beginning to ITS students, and anyway later on also.
The students are still waiting to COVID to get over.
Right, once this COVID itself is getting over, I shall be very glad to help this YTS again, and yes, and I hope that will. I want the students to get something, nothing for ourselves, but the students must get as much as they can, and they should be able to. We should be able to have industry, etc., which will be so big that India can become real number one in productions, all these things. So that is my desire. Yeah.
So any last word of wisdom to the student especially who are studying?
Yes,
how
yes.
to study for them?
Yeah. There is one advice I would like to give to the students. They must be very sincere to what they are doing. Number one, and they must keep themselves attached to the nation in every possible way. Okay, and that is the second thing that they must keep in mind. And then see, I came back, as I said in the beginning, that I could have joined, I could have been still staying in US.
Yeah.
I had an offer, but I did not, because I wanted to come back, and I had that vision of teaching the young students here. So there was a similar thing. The youngsters of today, even those who go to IIT and pass out from IIT, they must make sure that they are useful to the people, to the society, and in various ways. And they were to get into to become successful for anything, you need a strong desire and strong discipline. And there is one thing which I always tell students, that don't memorize anything.
Oh, okay.
It is because memorization kills creativity. So whenever you are doing anything, studying or something, then you must understand the meaning of what you are reading or doing or whatever, and that's it. Don't be after money or something like that. Lakshmi and Saraswati, these are the two goddesses. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth and Saraswati is the goddess of wisdom. Lakshmi will follow Saraswati, but not the other way around. Okay, so I always tell the students and all the younger generation that you be after Saraswati, Lakshmi will automatically follow. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. We never thought about it. People used to feel that if you are taking science, why it doesn't you don't get much money. If you become engineer, you will get money. But as Professor Patil told me, it's only in the initial stage. Later on, it will be different, and that's what did happen. Because I went abroad and at so many places world over. They gave me a lot of money. So I didn't have to worry about that. So this is the advice I would like to give to all the younger generation, that be after Saraswati and money and Lakshmi will follow. Don't worry.
I'm sure we must have already received a lot of questions from the students.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go directly and now answer the most of the questions, and they will be really eager to talk to you one to one in person.
Yeah.
So thank you again, sir, and let's join the students directly.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for listening so patiently, and thank you, Vagmare sir. I think Vagmare sir has joined us directly here, and he's good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Joshi sir, can you just थोड़ा सा tilt करा, because we are not able to see him. Hello.
येतंय?
नाही, just अजून खाली tilt करा. Yeah. Now this is better. Right. Yes, sir. We have Atharva Yavle here. Atharva, are you online?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
अथर्वला विचार.
अच्छा.
Hello.
Yes, Atharva. Sir, we have a student here directly and he wants to ask a question. Atharva Yavle.
Yes, very nice. Please.
Sir, I want to go to the astronomy and space research. So which university or college or which degree should I take so that I can reach to it?
Are you talking about abroad or India?
In India.
I don't know. India, of course, there are quite a few institutions, and we have the. You can also join some something like a TIFR or University of Bangalore University, and there that's where this astronomy group is being developed mostly. But there are also other places. But I can talk to you about it in person sometime later.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Then, sir, and which field means which degree or which means I want to ask which degree should I take or I need to go to astronomy?
Oh, you have to have a graduate degree, and you have to have physics as as the major subject for your bachelor's degree, and then you can apply. Then you are ready to take up astronomy, cosmology. All these fields are open for you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir. The second question, we have Chinmay Petkar.
Mm-hmm.
Chinmay, are you there? Can you listen to us? Or you can unmute now and ask your question. Chinmay? Hello?
Maybe she has withdrawn the question.
No, actually, I can see her and she was. Yeah, Chinmay.
Chinmay Katkar, yes. Yes, Chinmay, please ask question.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, you are audible now.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to ask that what is the criteria of getting scholarship in your institution? Like tips so that we can start preparing from now itself.
You're talking about YTS.
Yes, YTS.
Well, if I understand you correctly, you are asking about getting admission and scholarship at abroad or in India. I'm not sure.
India.
In India, yeah.
Yeah.
There are many institutions who offer scholarships to deserving students whom they take, and there are also other avenues which are also offered as financial aids in many institutions, including IITs. So one can do that. So that for that, nothing else is required except the admissions. Yeah.
What I can add here, Chinmay, if you're asking for YTS in particular, then actually YTS has an examination which is coming up. We have to give that examination. Most of the 10th standard students who are going to 11th, they give the examination. This exam is scheduled on 12th and 13th of December. You can actually register now for this examination. After the examination, the top 60 or 70 students are called for a one-to-one counseling session. Post-counseling, 30 are selected. This was the procedure till last year. This year, we are planning to increase the numbers. So, is that the question which you had asked for? So,
that's a good idea.
Sir, right now I'm in 9th standard. So in 10th, how will I get a notification that there is a entrance?
What I suggest is if you're in 9th standard and going to 10th, I think you should immediately also take up NTSC, National Talent Search Examination. That once you are into the National Talent Search Examination, you'll also get the notification. And we send you the details directly. Don't worry.
There is also this Junior Olympiad, which you can appear, if you appear. And so that if you are selected, you are sent abroad for the competitive examination, international competitive examination. And once you are selected, you get scholarships directly from the government. Yeah, is that clear? Am I clear?
Yeah, I think. So we have Ishani Pawar. I'm trying to get her here, but her question was very simple. She was asking what was your role model, or what is your role model now?
Yeah, actually my role model has been Richard Feynman of Caltech, who is no more now, but he has given some advices which I want to follow, and which I always followed. You see, he had given an advice in Brazil in 1952. It says, this is for the advice for the teachers, and this is very important. I think what we lack in India and even abroad also to some extent is good teaching, and because the teachers do not know exactly what they should be teaching and at what level. It says the advice that Richard Feynman gives is first figure out why you want the students to learn the subject and what you want them to know, and the method of teaching will result more or less by common sense. If you are teaching a class, you can think about the elementary things that you know very well. These things are kind of fun and delightful. It does not do any harm to think them over again. Is there a better way to present them? Are there any new problems associated with them? If you do think of something new, you are rather pleased that you have a new way of looking at it. I always enjoyed doing physics. Why did I enjoy it? It is because I played with it. What I enjoyed most while teaching was the questions that the students used to shoot at me, I had suddenly realized that these questions were often thought-provoking and a sense of inspiration for new research. In order to provoke students' thoughts, it is also necessary to inject a sense of proportion that your teachings will inspire in relating them to day-to-day life and environment as a whole. This is important for the best advice for the teachers, and I did follow that all throughout. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a question from Sachin.
Sachin, yes. Can you shoot the question at me?
Yeah. Let's see. Arda, I'll ask the question. A very simple question. He has asked, should one do graduation in India or abroad?
I'm firmly of the opinion that you should do your all undergraduate education in India, because undergraduate, I have seen the kind of levels of teaching or the knowledge that is imparted to undergraduate students in India and abroad, and I think Indian education is much superior, much better than US. Yes.
Yeah, we have one more question from Manish.
नमस्कार सर.
नमस्कार.
दशमीच्या शुभेच्छा.
या तुम्हाला खास आपल्या दसऱ्याला खास शुभेच्छा.
Sir, how is classical physics ideology different from quantum physics?
It is fundamentally different in several ways. Firstly, एक की मुख्य आपण काय म्हणजे न्यूटनच्या सिद्धांताप्रमाणे only one body can occupy the space at the same instant of time. Only one object can occupy, not more than one. But quantum mechanically, there can be many more which can occupy the same space at the same instant of time. हा मोठा फरक आहे. आणि क्लासिकल फिजिक्स मध्ये आपण म्हणजे जे काय बघतो तीच रियालिटी असते, आपल्याला जे दिसतं डोळ्यांनी, दॅट इज व्हॉट वी कॉल रियालिटी. पण क्वांटम मेकॅनिकली reality is something different, because something which you do not see also can be real. आता इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक वेव्स आणि इतर जे मायन्यूट काय म्हणतात ना मायक्रोस्कोपिक पार्टिकल्स, मायक्रोस्कोपिक बॉडीज या ज्या असतात तर त्यांचे आपण इफेक्ट्स पाहू शकतो. वी डोंट सी देम. So this is a major difference between classical and quantum physics. Okay.
Dr. Shantanu.
Yes.
Okay. आपल्यामध्ये रोटरी क्लब ऑफ औंधचे पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट रवी उलंगवार आहेत. त्यांना खूप एक छान प्रश्न विचारायचा आहे. रवी उलंगवार. हॅलो रवी, तुम्ही आहात का? त्यांचा प्रश्न असा आहे की what can be done to encourage more students to stay in India and contribute for a nation building? Do we have in our new NEP, that is National Education Policy, will this policy will address this issue?
Actually, he नवीन जे एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी केली आहे त्यांनी, ती मी बघितली आहे, मी वाचली आहे, आणि दॅट इज करेक्ट, दॅट इज इन द राईट डिरेक्शन. मुख्य म्हणजे की मोटिवेशन काय असायला पाहिजे हे विद्यार्थ्यांना माहित नसतं आणि टीचर्सना सुद्धा सांगता येत नाही नीट की कशा रीतीनं त्यांनी अभ्यास करावा किंवा शिक्षण घ्यावं की याच्यामुळे त्यांना म्हणजे देशाला सुद्धा फायदा होईल. आता लोक म्हणतात की IIT मध्ये जातात मुलं आणि नंतर मग ते अमेरिकेला वगैरे जातात आणि मग म्हणजे लॉस टू द इंडिया. आय डोंट थिंक दॅट इट इज लॉस. कारण काय की तिथे गेल्यानंतर सुद्धा ते जे कॉन्ट्रीब्युट करतात दॅट इज रिव्हर्स बॅक टू इंडिया ऑल्सो, म्हणजे इन मेनी फॉर्म्स. तर त्यामुळे तसं काही नसतं. पण तुम्ही काय करणार आहात म्हणजे तुम्हाला स्वतःला फोकस नीट पाहिजे. म्हणजे असं नाही की जे हातात येईल ते घ्यायचं, असं कधी करायचं नाही. तर म्हणजे तुम्हाला यू मस्ट हॅव फोकस. तसं मला माय फोकस was that I want to learn lot of things in science in US and any other countries also, and then come back and teach our own students about what new things can be done, what are the new things that are happening and why they are happening. So that it becomes a complete system of knowledge in India also. So this is what I think should be done.
ओके.
Is that clear? Okay, sir.
रवी उलंगवारजी, तुमचं प्रश्नाचं उत्तर दिलेलं आहे सरांनी.
हो हो हो, मी ऍक्च्युली अनम्यूट झालो नव्हतो म्हणून मला उत्तर म्हणजे प्रश्न विचारता नाही आला. सर
आपण केव्हा बोलू शकतो आणखीन सुद्धा कधी.
ओके ओके, नाही सर बोलूया, तुमच्याशी आम्हाला बोलायला आवडेल. आणि या कार्यावर म्हणजे एकत्र मी पण रोटरीयन आहे आणि प्रवीणचा मित्र आहे.
वा वा, छान.
हा, तर याच्यावर बरंच आपल्याला काहीतरी करता येईल. तर आम्ही फारच प्रेरित झालोय तुम्हाला ऐकून आज. आणि थँक्यू सो मच टू प्रवीण अँड शंतनू अँड ऑल द मेंबर्स ऑफ रोटरी क्लब ऑफ पुणे युनिव्हर्सिटी. थँक्यू सो मच सर. आणि तुम्हाला विजयादशमीच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा सर.
थँक्यू, आपल्याला सुद्धा सर.
थँक्यू सर. थँक्यू.
So one more question coming from Sanjay. So sorry, Preksha. So is Preksha here? Yeah, I think she's here.
सर, प्रेक्षाचा बाबा बोलतोय. नमस्कार.
नमस्कार
सर. अभ्यास फिजिक्स हे सोडून इतर इंटरेस्ट काय होते तुमचे? कारण फक्त अभ्यास नक्की नव्हता, अजूनही माणूस म्हणून घडण्याकरता बऱ्याच गोष्टी केल्या जातात. तर तुमचे इंटरेस्ट काय काय होते सर?
माझे इंटरेस्ट मी तुम्हाला सांगतो की माझे इंटरेस्ट म्हणजे एक अभ्यास हा माझा इंटरेस्ट असा नव्हता, पण मला शिकायला आवडत होतं. पण त्याशिवाय मला खेळ किंवा इतर लिटरेचर वगैरे मला याच्यात फार इंटरेस्ट होता. इंग्लिश लिटरेचर ज्याची गोडी आम्हाला दिवेकर सरांनी लावून दिली होती शाळेमध्ये असताना, तर ते माझं फारच म्हणजे आजपर्यंत माझं व्यवस्थित चालू आहे. त्याचं रिडिंग वगैरे सगळ्या विषयात, म्हणजे इंग्लिश सगळ्या भाषांमध्ये, गुजराती, मराठी, इंग्रजी सगळ्या ह्याच्यात. तर ते मला म्हणजे अगदी सगळे विशेषतः प्लेज ते मला सगळे खूप म्हणजे आवडतात आणि ते मी सगळे वाचतो, आणखी मी वाचले. तसंच गेम्स मध्ये सुद्धा, गेम्स मध्ये म्हणजे विशेषतः क्रिकेट हा खेळ असा आहे की मला पहिल्यापासून तो खूप आवडतोय. आणि मी बरोडा युनिव्हर्सिटीच्या क्रिकेट टीम मध्ये खेळलेलो आहे. म्हणजे आय वॉज रिप्रेझेंटेड बरोडा युनिव्हर्सिटी क्रिकेट टीम त्याच्यात. आय हॅव गॉन टू ॲट अ गुड लेवल. तर हे एक आणखीन तर म्हणजे क्रिकेट. आणि एक सांगतो तुम्हाला, काही लोकांना वाटतं की अभ्यास म्हणजे पेरेंट्सना विशेषतः की मुलांनी नुसता अभ्यास करावा, खेळू नये. हे चुकीचं आहे अगदी. कारण जितकं तुम्ही म्हणजे चांगला खेळ, जर तुम्ही खेळामध्ये सुद्धा चांगली प्रगती मिळवली, अभ्यासाला आपोआप तुमची प्रगती होईल, असा माझा म्हणजे अनुभव सुद्धा आहे. आणि मला असं वाटतं. तसंच म्हणजे म्युझिक, मला क्लासिकल म्युझिक मध्ये म्हणजे हिंदुस्थानी क्लासिकल म्युझिक मध्ये मला खूप इंटरेस्ट आहे. आणि मला म्हणजे मी नेहमीच ऐकत असतो. आणि बरेचसे म्हणजे मोठमोठे कलाकार सुद्धा माझ्या ओळखीचे आहेत आणि मला फार आनंद वाटतो म्हणजे त्यांचं ऐकायला. आणि सध्या तर अरे ते या कोरोनाच्या काळामध्ये तर मला ते संगीत म्हणजे अगदी माझा जीव की प्राण झालेला आहे अगदी. तर त्यामुळे ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आहेत, एकत्र येतात. आणि नुसता अभ्यास करून स्वतःची प्रगती होत नाही असं मला वाटतं. तर त्यामुळे सगळीकडे स्वतःला जे वाटतं ते करत राहावं आणि ते चांगल्या लेव्हलपर्यंत करत राहावं. त्यात फोकस ठेवून प्रत्येक गोष्ट करताना फोकस असावं, हे महत्वाचं आहे.
पण एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन घेऊया. सचिन कडनं शेवटचा प्रश्न आहे आणि तो म्हणजे न आलेला प्रश्न त्यांना डायरेक्टली ते विचारतायत. सो सचिनजी विचारा.
सर नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
सर प्रश्न माझा थोडासा अवघड वाटतो, कारण आपण फिजिक्सच्या बाबतीत आपल्यासमोर काही बोलणं योग्य नाही. तरी पण मी एक प्रश्न विचारू इच्छितो की साधारणपणे महाराष्ट्र किंवा मराठी मुलांमध्ये 100 80 मुलांना जर विचारलं की अरे फिजिक्सचं काय झालं, तर मला फिजिक्स अवघड वाटतं किंवा अवघड गेलं. त्यामुळे मी थोडस घाबरतो फिजिक्सला. आपल्याकडे IIPT सारखी संस्था आहे, मोठे लोक आहेत, आणि तरी पण फिजिक्सची ही भीती मुलांच्या मनात का आहे, त्यातल्या त्यात मराठी मुलांच्या मनात का आहे, हा मला विचारा वाटतो.
हो, याला उत्तर एकच आहे की जर म्हणजे टीचर्स जर चांगले आणि मोटिवेटेड असले तर ते विद्यार्थ्यांमध्ये ही रुची निर्माण करू शकतात. मी आता जेव्हा तुम्हाला सांगितलं रिचर्ड फायनमनच्या ज्या आयडियाज आहेत त्यांनी त्यांनी सांगितलं की हाऊ अ टीचर शुड टीच, म्हणजे फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल म्हणजे तर त्याप्रमाणे जर केलं म्हणजे फॉलो केलं रिचर्ड फायनमनला तर काही प्रॉब्लेम्स येत नाही. म्हणजे इट्स व्हेरी एन्जॉयबल. कारण माझे विद्यार्थी जे आहेत ते अगदी म्हणजे दे एन्जॉय फिजिक्स. आता सांगितलं ना की संदीप त्रिवेदी, गाते दाभोळकर, they change from their own discipline to physics and have become very successful in physics. तर तसं काही नाहीये. It depends on how you present the subject, any subject. हे प्रत्येक विषयामध्ये असं असतं की कोणाला मॅथमॅटिक्स कठीण वाटतं, कोणाला फिजिक्स कठीण वाटतं, तर ते टीचर वर अवलंबून असतं. म्हणजे आणि त्यांनी जर व्यवस्थित त्यांना जर स्वतः समजून घेऊन म्हणजे हे का आपण शिकवतो आहोत आणि याचा उपयोग काय आहे हे सगळे व्यवस्थित जर समजून सांगितलं विद्यार्थ्यांना तर त्यांना आपोआप म्हणजे निर्माण होतं म्हणजे इंटरेस्ट. असं आहे ते. तर म्हणजे बाकी त्याला काही मारून उठून कधी कोणी शिकू शकत नाही. त्याला इंटरेस्ट उत्पन्न करावा लागतो. असं म्हणजे माझं स्पष्ट मत आहे. आणि म्हणून तर ह्याने सांगितलं ना की म्हणजे रिचर्ड फायनमनने फर्स्ट म्हणजे टीचरलाच की फर्स्ट फिगर आउट व्हाय यू वॉन्ट द स्टुडंट्स टू लर्न दिस सब्जेक्ट अँड व्हॉट यू वॉन्ट देम टू नो. तर हे जर ह्याचं उत्तर टीचरला जर मिळालं तर काय प्रश्नच उद्भवत नाही. तर हे फार महत्वाचं आहे. ठीक आहे. म्हणजे मी म्हणतोय ते पटतं की नाही माहित नाही मला, पण
येस सर, आय थिंक अजून कोणाचे प्रश्न अजून आहेत बरेचसे प्रश्न, पण आय थिंक टाइम इज ऑल्सो आज दसऱ्याची आहे.
आणखी काही प्रश्न असले त्यांनी म्हणजे डॉक्टर संतोष.
येस येस, माझ्याकडे आलेत ते प्रश्न, मी ते सगळे लिहून घेईन आणि
मी तुम्हाला सांगेन त्याची उत्तरं तुम्ही त्याला पाठवून द्या.
येस येस, अगदी नक्की. सो थँक्यू. फक्त मला एक प्रश्न अशा माझ्या मनातला एक राहतो आणि तो असं वाटतं की तो पडलेला प्रश्न होता ज्यातनं हे सगळं निर्माण झालं, म्हणजे तुमचं विश्व निर्माण झालं किंवा तुमची उत्सुकता ताणली गेली. सो इन जनरल अगदी कॉमन माणसाला आज कळतेल अशा भाषेत मी तो प्रश्न परत विचारतो की सर, व्हॉट इज अ ॲटम बॉम्ब?
अणुबॉम्ब म्हणजे शक्ती, ही जी शक्ती असते आतमध्ये, ते खरं म्हणजे काय का हा साधा समजायचा प्रश्न आहे. आता समजा 100 लोक आहेत, 100 वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणी असे उभे आहेत असा धरून झाला, तर ते सगळ्यांचं म्हणजे इंडिपेंडेंट आहेत सगळे. मग त्यांचे विचार इंडिपेंडेंट आहेत, सगळे इंडिपेंडेंट आहेत. तर त्यामुळे आणि त्यांची एनर्जी प्रत्येकाची म्हणजे सम ऑफ ऑल द एनर्जी असं ते होतं. मग ते आपण ह्या सगळे एकत्र आले, जवळ आले आणि अगदी जवळ आहे, तर मग त्यांच्यामध्ये इंटरॅक्शन्स निर्माण होतात. आणि हे इंटरॅक्शन्स म्हणजे तुम्हाला म्हणजे यू हॅव टू गिव्ह समथिंग, म्हणजे ते इंटरॅक्शन्सच्या थ्रू म्हणजे तुम्हाला स्वतःच काहीतरी सोडावं लागतं, म्हणजे फॉर कॉम्प्रोमाइज म्हणा पाहिजे तर मैत्री करण्याच्या मध्ये वगैरे अशी. तर असं ते कॉम्प्रोमाइज करायचं म्हणजे यू हॅव टू गिव्ह समथिंग समवेअर. ओके, तर ते असतं. तर तसंच म्हणजे ऍटम बॉम्बचं पण असंच आहे. सगळ्या न्यूक्लियॉन्स जे इलेक्ट्रॉन आपले हे प्रोटॉन्स आणि न्यूट्रॉन्स हे जोपर्यंत वेगळे असतात तोपर्यंत तर त्या इंडिपेंडंट असतात, पण सगळे एकत्र आले किंवा त्यांच्या अट्रॅक्शन निर्माण जे होतं त्याच्यात, सो दे हॅव टू गिव्ह सम, सो देयर इज सम एनर्जी विच इज स्टोर्ड इन त्यांची, आणि ते जर एकदम तोडले ते, सो त्याचे एक असा न्यूक्लियस असला की बरेच प्रोटॉन्स आहेत बरेच न्यूट्रॉन्स आहेत आणि ते भाग केले दोन, तर त्याच्यामुळे एनर्जी निर्माण होते, मग ती जाते. तर ॲटम बॉम्बचा सिद्धांत म्हणजे थोडासा वेगळा आहे, म्हणजे असेच एकत्र आणणं, दोन भाग असे एकत्र आणून एकमेकाला जोडणं, म्हणजे ती एनर्जी आतमध्ये, ती एनर्जी पुढे जातेच, ती ही जी एनर्जी आतमध्ये जी स्टोर होते ती बाहेर पडते. तर दॅट इज द प्रिन्सिपल ऑफ म्हणजे ॲटॉमिक इम्प्लोजन म्हणतात तसं ते.
Right, sir. So, thank you today again for joining us for this so much ignited talks as talk about. आणि खूपच छान वाटलं, नेहमीच प्रमाणे तुम्ही इतके छान अगदी मन मोकळ्याप्रमाणे उत्तरं दिलीत सगळ्या ह्या प्रश्नांची. आणि अगेन तुम्हाला दसऱ्याच्या खूप शुभेच्छा. मॅडम असतील तर मॅडमनाही आमच्या
खास शुभेच्छा सगळ्या लोकांना, सगळ्या ज्यांनी ऐकलंय आणि त्यांना काही प्रश्न आणखी असले तर त्यांनी मला केव्हाही विचारावेत. आय विल बी व्हेरी हॅपी टू आन्सर देम.
एक प्रश्न बहुतेक अजून एक लास्ट प्रश्न आहे, मे बी सर पण उत्तर देतील. एक मिनिट. येस, गो अहेड. कोण आहेत? एक मिनिट. या
बोला बोला.
हा, केलंय मी अनम्यूट. तिथून अनम्यूट करायला लागेल तुमच्या बाजूने.
बोला बोला.
या, येस, गो अहेड.
ऍप्टिट्यूड कसा ओळखायचा आपला?
नाही, ऐकू येत नाहीये. हा प्रश्न असा होता सर, म्हणजे मी दिन थोडस 10वी नंतर ऍक्च्युली ऍप्टिट्यूड कसा ओळखावा, की सायन्सला जाता येईल का IIT करता येईल, म्हणजे असं हा पालकांकडून एक प्रश्न येतोय पण अनम्यूट होत नाहीये.
ऍप्टिट्यूड याचा अर्थ इंटरेस्टच.
येस,
तुम्हाला कुठल्या म्हणजे विषयांमध्ये इंटरेस्ट जास्त आहे त्याप्रमाणेच तुम्ही तो विषय घ्यावा, अँड दॅट इज युअर ऍप्टिट्यूड. मला काही असे विद्यार्थी माहिती आहेत की जे म्हणजे ज्यांना IIT मध्ये खरा इंटरेस्ट नव्हता खरं म्हणजे, आणि त्यांनी पण पेरेंट्स सांगितलं की अरे तू हुशार आहे, सामूहिक सगळ्यांनी, आणि तू IITच्या परीक्षेला बैस, IIT तू सिलेक्ट होशील आणि तू IITत जा. तर IITत अशी मुलं आली आहेत. आणि मी स्वतः डीन असताना सुद्धा काही विद्यार्थी मला येऊन भेटले होते की सर मला म्हणजे मला म्युझिकमध्ये इंटरेस्ट आहे, मला म्युझिकमध्ये जायचं आहे आणि मला या IIT मध्ये वगैरे इंटरेस्ट नाहीये, पण आता काय करू मी? तर म्हणजे आता अशा म्हणजे जर आला त्याला काही इंटरेस्ट नसतो, मग ही डन म्हणजे त्यात तो हळूहळू मागेच जातो. त्यांनी दाखवून दिलं एकदा पेरेंट्सना की आय कॅन डू इट, एवढंच. पण मग डज नॉट मीन आय मस्ट डू इट. कॅन अँड मस्ट ह्याच्यात फार मोठा फरक आहे. तर असंच काही लोक आहेत. म्हणजे मला एक आणखीन विद्यार्थिनी माहिती आहे की जी खूप हुशार, आणि सगळ्यांची इच्छा होती की म्हणजे IIT साठी किंवा मेडिकलसाठी वगैरे बसावं परीक्षेला, पण नाही, ती म्हणजे मला परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स मध्ये जायचं आहे. तर ती ड्रॅमॅटिक सामुक केलं आणि सध्या शी इज अ व्हेरी सक्सेसफुल म्हणजे डायरेक्टर ऑफ सम सिरियल्स, टेलिव्हिजन सिरियल्स, आणि खूपच हुशार आहे. आणि तिने म्हणजे BA ला मग त्याला ती बसली विथ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर घेऊन आणि फर्स्ट लागली. ते तिने दाखवलं की आय कॅन डू दिस, पण नाही, आय वॉन्ट टू डू ओनली दिस डायरेक्शन वगैरे, असं मला ह्याच्यात जास्त इंटरेस्ट आहे. तर तिने she has been successful in that. So that is what is important. Your aptitude means your own personal interest. तो घ्यावा.
राईट सर. सो म्हणजे मला जी गोष्ट अगदी तुमच्याकडनं नेहमीच तुम्ही सांगत आला की इंटरेस्ट कशात आहे, तुमचं मन कशात रमतं ओळखावं आणि जे करण्यामध्ये खूप आनंद मिळतो ती गोष्ट आयुष्यभर करत राहावी, बिकॉज ती जी गोष्ट आनंदाने कराल ती खूप चांगली होईल. मला अजून इथे फक्त एवढंच ऍड करायला वाटेल की आपण ही जी वायटीएसची परीक्षा निर्माण केली होती ती अशीच म्हणजे सायकोमेट्री टेस्ट वरनं तयार केलेली होती. जिथे दरवर्षी साधारणपणे 1000 मुलं ही परीक्षा देतात आणि पालकांना ऍक्च्युली त्यांना एक रिपोर्ट मिळतो अख्खा की त्या मुलांचा इंटरेस्ट काय आहे आणि ते IIT सारखी अवघड परीक्षा देऊ शकतात का, आहे का, त्यांचं सायन्स जातील का. यांनी खूप मोठा फायदा होतो की तुम्हाला वेळीच खूप कॅन्डिडली ह्याचं उत्तर मिळतं की वेदर यू फॉर 2 years स्टडी फॉर IIT ॲट ऑल, इट इज नॉट सच अ इझी टास्क. त्या गोष्टी तुम्हाला झेपतील का. सो हा प्रश्न विचारला तर एक चांगला झाला की YTS ची परीक्षा सुद्धा मुलांना त्यामुळे देता येऊ शकेल. थँक्यू अगेन. I will hand it over to Sujata and Ravi Kulkarni for vote of thanks. आणि मी आता फक्त एवढंच बिफोर लिव्हिंग की 2 गोष्टी एकत्र आल्यानंतर एनर्जी निर्माण होते. तसंच मला वाटतं रोटरी क्लब असे 4 एकत्र आल्यामुळे आमचा एक अणुबॉम्ब निर्माण झालेला आहे असं मी म्हणेन.
करून ठेवा.
नक्की सर, नक्की.
रवी and Sujata Kulkarni.
President Praveen, it gives me pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. At the very first, maybe we all are thrilled and inspired listening to Sir Wagmare sir. I think if you ask me ki apan Wagmare sir na ऐकलं आणि what you can conclude in that, I can say that की आपल्या देशातला क्वांटम फिजिक्स आणि न्यूक्लिअर फिजिक्स मधला अल्टिमेट शब्द म्हणलं तर आपण त्या शब्दाला आज ऐकलेला आहे असं म्हणायला काय हरकत नाहीये. आम्हाला कायमच सरनी इन्स्पिरेशन दिलेलं आहे. अँड सर आणि अंजली मॅडम हे आमच्यासाठी एक ऑलवेज दे हॅव बीन फादर फिगर्स टू अस अँड दे हॅव बीन ऑलवेज गायडिंग अस इन द राईट डिरेक्शन. आणि आय फील की आज जे काही मुलं अवेलेबल होती ज्यांनी आज ऐकलं सरना, they must have understood that 2 years at East Coast, 2 years at West Coast, and then back to India for teaching young Indians. हा जो त्यांचा एक ॲटिट्यूड किंवा त्यांची जी काही धारणा होती, I think that itself is a very inspiring thing to all people or all youngsters who have listened to him today. मला असं वाटतं त्यांनी जो शेवटी सांगितलेला भाग आहे की बी आफ्टर सरस्वती अँड लक्ष्मी विल ऑटोमॅटिकली फॉलो यू, हा सगळ्यांनी लक्षात ठेवायचा फार महत्वाचा मुद्दा आहे. बिकॉज सरस्वतीच्या मागे लक्ष्मी येते, इट्स नॉट द अदर वे राऊंड. त्यामुळं ही गोष्ट सगळ्यांना खूपच चांगली समजली असावी मला असं वाटतं. आज सर तुम्ही एवढा वेळ काढलात, थँक्यू डॉक्टर वाघमारे सर. आणि तुमच्यासारख्यांना ऐकायला मिळणं हे आमचं कायम भाग्य असतं. आज मॅडम पण इथं आहेत, अंजली मॅडम तुमचे पण आभार. तुम्ही सरांना जी काही साथ दिलेली आहे दॅट इज अल्टिमेट. वी हॅव बीन ऑब्झर्विंग दॅट फॉर क्वाईट सम टाइम. हा प्रोग्राम तयार करण्यामागं याची दी एंटायर मे बी प्रोसेस इज हँडल बाय डॉक्टर शंतनू of YTS. So Dr. Shantanu, we also would like to express thanks to you. And from Rotary Club of Pune University, I thank President Praveen, President Prasad from Chinchwad, President Sharad from Shivajinagar, President Kamlesh from Kharghar Midtown, and Sushil from President Sushil from RC Daund. And specifically, I would like to mention work done by Secretary Ullas, because of whom actually we could actually observe this entire webinar in a seamless manner. There was no disturbance at all. We could listen to sir, and that was maybe the platform created by Rotary Club of Daund. That is really appreciable. I would also like to mention our gratitude towards District 3131 Literacy Committee and specifically DLCC both Malpani. And after this, I would like to also thank each and every person present here in this particular webinar. And I वन्स अगेन विश एव्हरीबडी हॅपी विजयादशमी. सगळ्यांना दसऱ्याच्या खूप खूप शुभेच्छा. आज दसऱ्याच्या दिवशी सरांसारख्याला ऐकायला मिळणं हे आपलं खूप मोठं भाग्य आहे. आपल्या दसऱ्याची खूप चांगली सुरुवात झालेली आहे आणि जी यंगस्टर्स आहेत त्यांच्या दृष्टिकोनातून हा चांगला सीमोल्लंघनाचा भाग आहे. सायन्सच्या किंवा तुमच्या रेस्पेक्टिव्ह करिअर्स मध्ये खूप छान करण्यासाठी तुमच्यासाठी एक चांगली सोय आहे. तुम्हाला वाघमारे सरांचे आशीर्वाद मिळालेले आहेत, त्यामुळे तुमची करिअर अत्यंत सुंदर होणार आहे, याबद्दल शंका नाही आहे. एवढे शब्द बोलून मी अगेन हँड इट ओव्हर टू प्रेसिडेंट प्रवीण फॉर फर्दर प्रोसिडिंग्स.
रवी आणि सुजाता, थँक यू व्हेरी मच. आय एम सो प्लीज टू मिस यू.
सर भेटायला येते मी लवकरच.
ये लवकर या.
आणि दसऱ्याच्या तुम्हाला दोघांनाही खूप खूप शुभेच्छा. छान झालं आजचं सेशन.
खूप शुभेच्छा.
थँक्यू रवी आणि सुजाता. थँक्यू. छान वोट ऑफ थँक्स. तुम्ही सगळ्यांचे वोट ऑफ थँक्स मांडलेले आहेत. सगळ्यांना मला परत एकदा रिमाइंड करायचं की 1 तारखेला 1 नोव्हेंबरला सकाळी 9:30 वाजता परत आपण सगळ्यांनी भेटायचंय. आणि पुढच्या वेळेस असंच व्यक्तिमत्व आपल्याकडे आहे. डॉक्टर अजित केंभवी, हु इज अ इंडियन एस्ट्रोफिजिसिस्ट अँड प्रोफेसर एमिरेट्स इन IUCAA. He is a member of a space commission of the space India. तो सगळ्यांनी आपण 1 तारखेला भेटायचंय. आजच्या मीटिंगचा सगळ्यांनी आस्वाद घेतलेलाच आहे. सरांचा आपण इतकं छान सरांबरोबर झालेल्या गप्पा आपण ऐकलेल्या आहेत. तर 1 तारखेला आपण परत सगळ्यांनी परत एकदा भेटूया. धन्यवाद.
ओके, धन्यवाद. थँक्यू. खास शुभेच्छा. किती लोकांनी
कहते थे लोग जो काबिल नहीं है तू, देंगे वही सलामियाँ। दिल थाम के जहाँ देखेगा एक दिन तेरी भी कामयाबियाँ। करके दिखा कमाल वो, आके ज़मीं पे दे के जाए आसमां। शाबाशियाँ, 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 शाबाशियाँ।